You're listening to the Millennial Minute Podcast, giving this generation what they want to hear.
What's up, guys? This is your boy Rod, and welcome to another new episode of the Millennial Minute Podcast. Coming to you live in studio and via Zoom. We got the whole crew here today. So let's go around and introduce the starting lineup, the starting five.
Hey.
Over here in studio, we got Speaks, Speakeasy,
Speaky.
Speaky,
Little Speaky speaks.
Little Speaky,
Little Speaky.
Will
Speaky.
Little Speaks.
What up, everybody? How you guys doing today?
Yes.
Good.
We got our girl over here across from me. Shout out to T.
Hi.
Hi. We got our boy all the way in Washington, D.C., next to Daddy Trump, representing Chibs.
So fine.
Yeah.
I need an NBA entrance. Dun, 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 dun.
We need to play that Michael Jordan Last Dance music.
Oh.
When we're doing
Was that
the
SpongeBob song? Do you know the?
No,
Never
not that
mind.
one.
Never mind.
Watch some sports, T.
No, SpongeBob.
Stop
Okay.
watching baseball and hockey. Watch some sports.
I don't get it.
I won't say. I'll tell you after.
Okay.
And then all the way in Arizona, we got our main man, Alif. Say what's up to the people.
Greetings, folks. Greetings.
What the heck?
Good.
Nah.
Alif
Fancy.
now works for NPR. Good
He's
evening, folks.
fancy.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
So let's go behind this paywall. Let's get paid, guys, and let's
Paid.
shout out our sponsors
Ooh.
for today's episode. Today's episode is paid for by viewers like you. Shout out to PBS. So we gotta give a
God,
give
I
a
forgot
big.
that.
I know that just like opened up a part of my brain. We gotta give
My
a big.
third eye just opened.
Our third eye. You know who does open our third eye?
Yo, mama.
Productive Culture.
Shout out
and
Productive.
Yo Mama T.
Shout out Productive.
Culture. Shout out Productive.
Hey.
If you're
Hey.
looking for production, mixing, sound design, or just looking to start your own podcast, Productive Culture is where you need to go. Stop lagging. They've hooked us up and they've taken our podcast to the next level, and they can do the same for y'all sorry asses.
Yo.
If you've been thinking about starting your own podcast or your own rap career, Productive
Hey.
Culture.
Culture.
You should just go ahead and do it. We're in a pandemic. Follow your dreams, guys.
Yeah.
None of
live your
this
life.
is real. This is all a simulation.
It's a simulation.
It's
That's
all
what
a
I've been trying to tell
simulation.
everybody.
Hit up Productive Culture at productiveculture.com/podcast, and you can also find them at their Instagram at Productive Culture.
Productive.
Shout out to Productive Culture.
Yes.
We also wanted to give a huge shout out and a huge thank you to 3-Bit Games. So for everybody who's into video games and comic books, 3-Bit Games is the spot you need to hit up ASAP.
Hey, shout out to 3-Bit.
Shout out to 3-Bit. They
Yeah.
buy, sell, they buy, sell, and trade all games, consoles, Funko Pop. Shout out to T,
Yeah.
comics, figures, and trading cards. You're supposed to say Funko.
Funko.
There you go. It's a one-stop shop for all your gaming and collecting needs. You can find them at 1600 East Holt Avenue, Space K24 in Pomona. Call them and make sure that they are open amidst this pandemic. Things have been kind of crazy. We're open. We're closed. We're open. Wear your damn mask,
I was
people.
going to say that.
Yes.
This is not a simulation. This is a
It
pandemic.
is.
We're talking to you, Karen.
It is a
Yes, put it on.
simulation,
We're
but
talk-
put your mask on.
Yes, put your mask on. We're not playing. We're telling you this while we're not wearing masks. So you can find them
We're
on
about 6 feet apart, though.
Yeah, about. So you can find them on Instagram at 3-Bit Games. So also support.
Also, they're a black-owned business.
Yes.
Yes. Support local black-owned businesses. Give us your money. Large monetary apologies only.
All we need.
So when you walk in, hey, Millennial Minute sent ya. Here's the reparations.
Here's my
I want to buy this game.
Yes.
That's how it works, people.
I like it.
Now, getting into our topic for today. Very controversial one. If you guys didn't hear this week, Nick Cannon had made some questionable comments on his podcast and was let go from his job, and Wildin' Out was essentially canceled.
Well, I don't know if they're...
Because I don't think they're keeping the show.
I don't know. Well, I think it's still currently up in the air, no? Because I haven't heard anything completely official.
Well, that we can look that up.
Okay,
Someone
yeah.
Google that. Find out if that's legit or not.
Siri did. No, I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
Siri did Nick Cannon. So Nick Cannon had made these comments on his podcast. We're just going to play them for everyone to hear if you hadn't heard already. So here you go.
then let's go to what it really is then. When we talk about the power of melanated people, when we talk about who we really are as guys, and understanding that our melanin is so powerful and it connects us in a way that the reason why they fear black, the reason why they fear is because the lack that they have of it. So then when you see what Dr. Francis C. Welsing talked about is that fear and that
just genetic
that
annihilation
deficiency of when you have a person that has the lack of pigment, the lack of melanin, that they know that they will be annihilated. So therefore, however they got the power, they have the lack of compassion. That melanin comes with compassion. Melanin comes with soul. That we call it soul. We soul brothers and sisters. That's the melanin that connects us. So the people that don't have it are a little, and I'm gonna say this carefully, are a little less. And where the term actually comes from, because I'm bringing it all the way back around to Minister Farrakhan, to where they may not have the compassion or the when they were sent to the mountains of Caucasus, when they didn't have the power of the sun, that the sun then started to deteriorate them. So then they're acting out of fear, they're acting out of low self-esteem, they're acting out of a deficiency. So therefore, the only way that they can act is evil. The only way they have to rob, steal, rape, kill, and
fight or flight,
in order to survive.
Exactly.
So then these people who didn't have what we had, and when I say we, I speak of the melanated people.
Right.
They had to be savages. They had to be barbaric. Because they're in these Nordic mountains. They're in these rough, torrential environments. So they're acting as animals.
Right.
So they're the ones that are actually closer to animals. They're the ones that are actually the true savages. And then they built up such this I don't want to say warrior, but they built up such this conquering barbaric mentality.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
So Nick Cannon made those comments, and after that, he had been let go from his job. He had also made some other comments regarding Jewish people and them wanting to own the banks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So just in regards to the comments that he's made, him getting fired from his job, I guess the question for today would be, I think, one, do we think that Nick Cannon's comments were racist to us? Do we deem them as racist? And two, do we think that Nick Cannon should have been fired from his job as host of Wilding Out and much on top of his other endeavors? Do you think we should? We think he should have been fired?
To be fair, he's only been dropped from VH1. He's still on Fox hosting the Masked Singer.
Yes, they kept him on that.
Yes,
one.
they did.
So
all right.
Okay. We'll go Chibs, Alif, Speaks, and Rod, then me. Ready?
Yep.
And go.
Well, I mean, this is America. You have freedom of speech, so you can say what you want to say, but you just have to bear the consequences. And he works for a corporation, and there are rules. So, I mean, like, in my eyes, he spoke out of turn, so they fired him. I mean, we'll go more into it, but yeah.
Okay. Alif.
Yeah, I also feel that what he said is a bit problematic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speak easy.
Yeah, I think what he said was problematic, and I guess he deserved to get fired. We'll talk about it a little bit more.
Okay. I do agree what he said was problematic. I do believe that his comments were racist. I mean, I'm kind of on the fence if he should have gotten fired or not, but I do agree with Chibs. He was part of a corporation. There are rules and regulations.
Yeah, I think he should have been a little bit more careful about how he worded that, and that's time.
Chibs.
Damn, like
You didn't get a countdown or nothing.
Damn, like
Come on,
none of
T.
y'all
You
could
got
say
one job, T. You got one job.
Well, to be fair,
To be fair, I had thoughts to think.
yeah, T also had to share, so she couldn't share and be like, and 3 and 2 and 1.
Yeah.
So we'll cut T some slack on that one.
Thoughts and numbers, thinking and counting.
There was a lot of thinking involved in that
There was
one.
too much for me to handle. I couldn't do it.
Too much thoughts.
Yeah.
Enough. T just runs and jumps out the window. I can't do this anymore.
Jeez
I'm
Louise.
out. So, I think that we could start with Chibs, because Chibs, you had brought up freedom of speech and how those comments, I mean, freedom of speech, but also when you work for a corporation, you also represent them. So dive a little bit deeper into, what you thought about his comments. Did you think they were racist, and kind of the fallout from it?
It's funny. So I've been seeing like what I've been reading, what I've been seeing. It's interesting because a lot of people are like defending him, and it's weird because I can definitely see like both sides, because I feel like the number one thing on Twitter when they found out what happened is that you're just like, well, Nick Cannon was just telling the truth, it's just kind of less like, well, now. He was just speaking the truth. This is just the reality. I mean, just like now he's getting fired for speaking. What's how the world really like. That's what everyone was like been saying, and stuff like that. And then to go along with that, also what I've been seeing is just kind of like how he's kind of like just holding it down for Black people. It's kind of just like he's speaking unabashedly and like saying just like what people are afraid to say. And so we need to like support people more like him, So there's that side of the conversation, but of course there's like the other side of the conversation, which is like, he like you were saying, he's part of a corporation, and as Americans, we do have a power of free speech. We're able to say what we want to say. For the most part, there are limitations. Like you can't say I'm gonna kill the president, but. But for the most part, you can say what you want to say without going to jail. But it wasn't like he works for someone else. He works for Viacom.
Yeah.
And no matter what, if you work for someone else, especially a corporation that's as large as Viacom, there's definitely like codes of conduct and rules and regulation. So I mean, as much as you would love to say that as a celebrity you get to say whatever you want, like there's going to be consequences. Because if you're going to piss someone off, there's going to be backlash, and his backlash for pissing off the company that he works for was him getting fired. So I mean, that's kind of like the only way you can like say what you want is become Alex Jones, running your own podcast. You say whatever the fuck you want at any time, doesn't matter.
The frogs.
So if
frogs are gay. Reptiles. Frogs are
Whoa! Leave the reptiles alone.
That's what he said. That's what he said before.
Yes.
Reptile people are running the world. That frogs are gay. He's had some out there like conspiracy theories. But Chibs, so to piggyback off that, I kind of wanted to ask an open question to anyone who was willing to answer it. So we do have freedom of speech. Do you think that Nick Cannon's comments, like him having a platform, do you think that he should be speaking in that way and talking about those things and making those types of comments, knowing that he has such a big platform? Do you feel like his comments were truthful? Do you feel like they were uneducated? Like open forum.
I mean, come back to me. I already spoke a little bit. Maybe want to pass along. Maybe
No, I just want to say anybody that has a platform should definitely be a little bit more mindful and careful with what they're saying, and just make sure that it's going to come across the way that you want to be seen.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be a lot of people influenced by what you're saying.
True.
Do you know? Like, you just got to be careful.
Yeah. Speaks.
So as it pertains to the comments that he made towards the Caucasian variety of people.
Variety?
Caucasian.
What is this? Trail mix? Caucasian variety.
Well, I feel like I don't think he's specifically Caucasian. I think he talked about folks that have less melanin.
He said,
we can all speak in code, but we know who this was directed to.
Exactly. So that's what I mean.
I think that,
like don't use semantics to like
mountains
go over hoops.
I believe even in the clip he does say mountains of Caucasus.
Yeah.
So
I think it's fair for this conversation, like kind of like a heads up TBA or announcement for everyone. Like we can be careful with what we say and how we say it.
Yes.
But it shouldn't stop us from like saying
what it was,
what we feel, or how we really feel.
Okay, so
Okay.
maybe
So it's just
I'm
more,
prefacing this.
Just choose your words wisely.
Well, I'm prefacing it with
people.
a little bit of a trigger warning.
Yeah.
So because my view is not like, do I agree with him getting fired? Yes, but I think it was, in my opinion, he got maybe a little bit more dinged for the anti-Jewish comments that he made more so than the actual, because that's what
We didn't play that.
we didn't.
Yeah.
No.
No.
That was the only clip I could find.
No, I
Okay.
know, but like
we would
I
have
think,
to go back.
Yeah,
Just so people know.
yeah, but I think he got dinged more so for the anti-Jewish slander or the anti-Jew slander that he did, talking about
Okay, yeah.
talking about how Jews are kind of owning the banks. He talked about the Rothschild whole conspiracy, and a lot of that rhetoric that he was spewing in that episode was linked to similar views of like Hitler. So I think that's where he kind of got dinged on because, especially in today's climate, I find it very hard to believe that somebody that is basically kind of talking about history as it pertains to the white, how white people were back in the day, would be dinged in this climate, especially with Black Lives Matter and talking about police brutality and stuff like that. So that's my personal preference. I think that yes, everything has a consequence, So when he did say it, yeah, okay, I understand. We have to keep that same energy because if these avid, white people in positions of power are getting dinged for what they're doing, for their racist acts and racist comments, then you have to keep that same energy.
It goes both ways.
Yeah, but you also got to acknowledge the fact that he did say that, like something along the lines of white people, that he believes that white people they're acting out because of a lack of because of a melanin deficiency, and they do evil such as rob, kill, and rape in order to survive, and therefore they are the true savages and barbaric by nature because they lack melanin.
That's a little extreme.
Yeah, that's why I said like it's like I said, I just think that he got dinged more so for the anti-Jewish comments, but I do agree that what he was saying was not necessarily right.
Yeah.
I will say, just going off with a leaf, it's funny he says that because I've been hearing, before I even heard the Nick Cannon thing, I've been hearing a lot of people just saying stuff similar to what he was saying, how just like, because white people, almost exactly what he said, because white people do not have enough melanin or enough pigment in their skin, that's why they're like so like savage and evil the way they are, which is something I haven't heard before. And being black, you got to hear a lot of different conversations, and this is relatively new to me.
There was
and on the flip side, I have heard the exact same thing in reverse from in the opposite from what racist white folks or Caucasian folks.
You can literally read that in like textbooks. Like recorded for centuries.
Like,
yes.
Yeah. So I've heard the exact opposite. So like it's kind of interesting.
So that, to me, that brings me to an interesting point, because Bakari Sellers had addressed some comments in the videos. I know I shared that with you guys like in the group chat, and he was pretty much talking about how African Americans, in a sense, have to like put this Hotep shit down, like put the Hotep mentality down, that we can't like paint everyone with the same brush, the same way that we as black people don't want to be painted in the same brush, or Mexican people, Asian people, et cetera, et cetera. So do you guys feel, to me, his comments were racist, but I've seen a lot of black people online and a lot of discourse saying that the comments that he made towards white people weren't racist. But that leads me to think, if a white person said that about black people, would we consider that racist?
We would.
So this is gonna wait, Chibs.
Yeah, because I want to say, just like imagine his entire conversation, word by word, but except every time he mentioned some type of like race or ethnicity in the conversation, he said like Caucasian or like melanated people or whatnot. So when he seems like against it, like if he said something about like the Asian people in that conversation, or like the Mexican people, is that still racist?
Yeah.
And you like interchange different like ethnicities, and it still be like, and the answer is probably going to be like yes for every time.
Yeah. So why do you guys think that is? Why do you think that there's so much defense for Nick Cannon, and maybe there wouldn't be as much of a defense if a white person were saying this about black people or any other race? We can go to Elif then speaks, that's fine, and then go around the world.
Because I feel like a lot of people have a mentality that you can't be racist against Caucasian people.
Okay.
I think a lot of people believe that, like, because like a lot of people believe that reverse, the whole idea of reverse racism and all that stuff. I'm not saying that, I'm not speaking on that, but then there are people out there that say you can't be racist against white people.
Just piggyback off what Leaf said, I do feel like there's a conversation saying like, people who aren't white can't be racist because racism is a what's the word? It's pretty much like power influence, you know.
Yes,
so just because white people have the power to enforce like racism, and black people or other people of color do not. And racism is like implementation of power. That's why the conversation comes from. People who are white can't be racist.
Yeah. Essentially, like you can't be. I think there's an argument out there that says you can't be racist against Caucasian people because the system is built for them.
Yeah, but I've also heard people say that black people aren't racist, but they can be prejudiced. But then therefore, wouldn't prejudice in a sense also be racist?
Racist,
like,
I mean, it can lead into that.
I mean, most of the time, isn't when somebody says prejudice. I mean, we associate that with racism anyway.
Yeah,
like
right?
it's
like
it's like it's
prejudice.
yeah, it's like it's I don't want to say it's an exact interchangeable, you know, but like more or less everybody knows what you're talking about when you start saying racism, prejudice.
Yeah,
it's in the same.
I will say, I guess I would say for like. I think in my opinion, I mean, I can't speak for everyone else,
okay.
But it seems like they all have the definitions kind of wrong, because I don't feel like racism is the implementation of like power. It's discrimination, in my opinion, because like I feel like you can have like a racist thought, you know, oh, black people suck, you know, like you don't have to be in a position of power to think that, but I feel like. If you see black people suck, and then black people suck, let me take their entire like community and like cut off all the taxes, you know, or like suck away their income or the economy. That's, in my opinion, is discrimination. Or let me write laws, let me redline, you know, let me just like segregate these schools, let me discriminate them from the rest of the like higher income population, which is typically like white people. I feel like that is like.
So
more detrimental than like racism.
So it's more. So from what you're saying, it's more discrimination that is more of kind of like the power structure, a hierarchy, versus actual racism. Because anybody can have a racist thought and be racist. Because and that, you know what, Chips? I love that. We gotta.
You're saying they can have a racist thought and not be racist, or
no,
racist?
that you can have a racist thought but not have the power to implement structures that would affect black people.
Yes.
So you can look at a lower income white family that may be racist, but they don't have the power to actually implement redlining, implement segregation, implement, you know, all of these things.
Things that would actually be able to let them act on that.
Exactly. But it's discrimination from a hierarchy, from a power structure that is able to affect different races.
Gotcha.
Damn, Hotep Chibs just opened
That
the third
was a
eye.
lot, yeah.
Bam! A kente cloth is coming over me right now. Man, I love that. I thought that was really well said.
Just know that, man.
Wait, Alif, say it again.
Oh, nothing. I was just agreeing.
Oh, okay. So, T, what do you think about the comments that Nick Cannon made on the video? Do you feel like they were racist? And do you think that he should have been fired for them?
I feel like Chibuzo said if you were to switch that up, we would have canceled him and like been upset. Do you know what I mean? So we can't be mad if it's only about a certain race and not about the other. Like if we really want things to change, we need to show that we're for all racism. Do you know what I mean?
True.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Chibs, go open up that third eye again.
Open it.
Put on the
Bring 'em
kente cloth right now.
I mean, I feel like, has any of y'all heard of respectability politics?
No.
Respectability politics?
Explain. Use it in a sentence.
Okay.
Not verb. But
Use it in a sentence.
Okay, continue.
No, so essentially it's the because I feel like people who like are, I don't want to say like Hotep, but like in the I don't know how to say it.
Shout out Dr. Umar.
Because like I guess I learned it in college, and so it's pretty much the idea that in order for like white people essentially to like respect and accept black people, we have to like button up and like not sag and not say the N word and be just
Oh.
like the ideal citizen, and
Yeah.
that is the only
Okay.
way we get the rights we deserve.
Yeah.
But then the kind of like the flip side to that argument, the counter to that argument is just saying like, why do we have to do all that shit?
Yeah.
We don't have to do anything. Like why? Like you should because we're human, you know. Like we deserve all the rights that you have. We don't have to do anything extra
Yeah.
Mhm.
to
Appearance
have us
shouldn't matter
have the same rights.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
yeah, that
so
just
that's
goes.
kind of like the conversation or the debate between respectability politics. Should we like change in order to appease the white man, or should they just accept us as who we are?
That's-
Interesting, because like
Yeah.
because that does touch on like a lot of just different things, because a lot of like, you know, what are we really calling things that look professional or things that look a certain way? Is that really
Presentable.
is that really what we're considering presentable, or is that just what we've been taught through this whole
Yeah.
entire
Like,
time
who made that
to
presentable?
associate that with being presentable, being this way, you know?
And I think that also, I mean, because I think that there are things that we have in a social structure that are considered presentable. If you have a job interview, you dress nice, you know, but
Yeah.
does that mean straightening your hair per se?
Yeah.
Does
no,
that mean getting rid of
exactly.
cornrows? Does that
Exactly.
mean
That's
and
why-
that's where the lines kind of blur and they get
Exactly.
murky.
Well, yeah,
And that's what I was getting at. Not necessarily
But-
like if you're gonna be going to a business thing, like no, not the suit. I just mean like that. Touching on that in the workplace. Why does somebody have to change the way that their hair is? Why is it like? Why can that not just be accepted? Why do I have to go ahead, chop my hair off, make it look a certain way for you to not feel so threatened?
Yeah.
You know?
Chibs, you were gonna,
but also kind of, that's one like aspect of the argument. But
Yeah.
another one is kind of just like like if some like black kid like got shot, right? And then you see in the comments, you're saying just like, oh, look at him, he was sagging his pants. Of course, he's a thug. He
Yeah.
probably deserve it. And just kind of just like, what?
yeah, like
You know, like you're saying like if he what? You saying he wouldn't be shot by the police if he like
Pulled
had
up
his like
pants.
shirt tucked in? You know, it was like.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that kind of goes into perception more than anything, but also kind of how we talked about, I want to say a couple episodes ago, where, you know, people, they just lack empathy. And I see those comments just in deaths regarding black people and,
Believe
you know,
that's-
white people. I've seen some comments just even on local threads when, you know, people in our community have passed away. It's like, oh, well, if this person wasn't doing this, like, he wouldn't have died. So good riddance. And I'm just kind of like, damn, dude. Like,
yeah, that's so insensitive.
it's in. I mean, I don't know, man. It's just not the way to look at things. And I think that Twitter right now and a lot of people are looking at Nick Cannon's comments as like maybe he was too woke for people, when in reality it's like, no, you
That was
spewed racist BS.
Yeah, that was yeah.
Well, because don't you guys remember who was we did a podcast on him?
Who?
That dude that does the action movies.
Oh,
Liam Neeson.
Remember when
Liam Neeson.
Neeson made those comments that like he was going on the streets like hunting black
Black
dudes
dudes.
to like kill
Yeah.
them. All of us agree that was racist. Like that was just
Yeah.
not okay, regardless
okay.
of like what had happened to his friend.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like what Nick Cannon is saying here is just like, I think that there are too many people defending him. Chibs and I had a DM conversation.
I don't know if that's necessarily the Liam Neeson isn't.
It's not
Yeah,
ideal,
yeah,
but
because one was he's spewing and calling people savages and everything else like that. The other one, he said I was actively looking.
That's true.
of course,
Yeah.
but I mean, it doesn't correlate. But I was just saying because he had said, oh, that a black man had like raped my friend, therefore I was looking for black people.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
people, the
exactly.
argument was like, oh, if it was a Mexican man, would you have gone looking for Mexican people?
Yeah, exactly.
Et cetera, et cetera. But Chibs and I, we were DMing about the whole Nick Cannon thing, and we were talking about like cancel culture and how like Nick Cannon in the community of like the Twitter world wouldn't be canceled. And I told Chibs, I was like, well, you look at something like Deshaun Watson, the football player who played for the Eagles, who like took out an excerpt of like Mein Kampf, like Hitler's book, and like quoted him
What
on
the
it, like on
fuck?
Instagram stories. But like he didn't get canceled also. And you've been seeing a lot of people kind of gravitate, maybe saying like, okay, cancel culture in itself is toxic because it's not teaching anybody anything. It's like you're canceling someone, they're writing a BS apology, and then you're forgetting about it and then just letting them continue their lives. And people have been starting to, Stephen A. Smith had said, should we start something called counsel culture, where you educate people on why the comments that they're making is wrong.
Yep.
So instead of saying, you know what, Deshaun Watson, you no longer deserve a platform, you're cut off the team, have a great life. Like, what does that teach Deshaun Watson? If you tell Nick Cannon, you know what, you're fired, get the hell out of here, you have no more platform to speak on. What does that teach Nick Cannon, other than maybe justifying the bias he may already have in his head? Should we start counseling different celebrities regardless of race on these things that they say? T, what do you think?
I think it's up to them as influencers to know that obviously they did something wrong, and something they said just wasn't right. I think it's up to them to try and be open and see, okay, well, educate me. Like, let's have that conversation. Let me know why what I said.
Yeah.
Did that sound right?
Yeah.
I don't know why that sentence sounded wrong.
No,
but
you're
why
good.
was it offensive? Or do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
they need to be open to be educated. And if they're not, then I think it's a huge reflection on their, like, who they are.
Yeah.
Does that cause for cancel if they're not if they're clearly showing like a
I'm not going to learn. I don't care about this. My comments were my comments.
I think that's toxic.
Yo,
and I wouldn't
that
wanna
actually
support someone
that
like
happens.
It does happen.
What's up, Belief?
Huh? I'm here.
Yeah.
I thought
I'm just
you said
listening.
something. Oh yeah, no, happened. Wasn't it Papa John's? Well, he used to be like saying the N word,
yeah.
yeah.
and then he went to like the HR office, and then he said it again, like N word. Like, that's what I said.
Yeah.
They
because
fired him. Yeah.
They actually made him take a class on like racial inclusivity and why you shouldn't say that word. And during racial inclusivity class, Papa John's continued to say the N word
Oh my
time and time.
gosh.
Like he said it. They said this. He said it like upwards of 10 plus times.
Are you
Like in this
serious?
class, he just doubled down on his stance of like racism. But speaking of T's point, Deshaun Watson actually did accept an invite to head to the Museum of Tolerance and learn
Okay.
more about the
Well, that's
Holocaust
good.
after sharing that screenshot. Nick Cannon did apologize. So if those apologies happen, if that learning happens, where they're like, okay, I learned why my comments were wrong, I fucked up, I'm in a different space. Because I think
Yeah.
people within the realm of
Yeah.
fucking up. Like, I'm not saying R. Kelly rehabilitate and throw him back out into society. Like,
Yeah.
lock him in jail. He's done. But
Yeah.
someone like Nick Cannon, should he deserve counsel? Should people educate him on what he said?
Oh, I think
Yeah.
100%. I think so, and I think a lot of this would be solved with knowledge and a conversation. With gain of knowledge and a conversation. Even some of the racist individuals, if they were willing to actually accept it and like not just write them off, like actually, because if you were to actually like what was his name that we were talking about beforehand?
Daryl Davis.
Daryl Davis. If you're able to sit down with these people and point out certain flaws in their thinking, and like not just like, and I'm not talking about like flaws that are not backed by like years upon years of like of racist like and everything else like that. If they're shaped off of like a real true misconception, like more than likely it was learned from their past, like from their parents and then their parents on down. If you're able to stop that cycle, you create something.
Yeah, you break the chain.
Yeah, you break the chain.
I also feel like if someone's opened and willing to learn, then they're able to change. People can change,
Yeah.
but they have to be willing and open to it.
Yeah. Okay, Chibs, your thoughts on counsel culture over cancel? Counsel. Entanglement.
Counsel entanglement.
Yeah.
Entangle the counsel.
Yeah, I guess it just depends. I mean, I don't think you can find it on Twitter, because
No.
I feel like with cancel culture, cancel
saying
culture
it?
is like on Twitter,
Cancel.
Yeah.
But I feel like you wouldn't. But I also feel like in the cancel culture gets more spotlight than I feel like cancel culture. Because if you look hard enough, there are people that say like this is wrong and this is why. Here's the history. Here's the effect. This is why it hurts me or like the community. No one cares about that shit. As long as be like, you're fucking terrible.
Yeah.
That's like 10,000 retweets.
Yeah.
True. So what does that say to us as
As a society, are we
Yeah.
not forgiving? Let he who is without sin cast the first stone. Shout out to Jesus.
a
So Alif, what
Jesus.
What do you?
Jesus, sponsor the pod.
Jesus Christ, sponsor
Amen.
the pod.
Sponsor the
Vatican,
Hallelujah.
sponsor the pod. So Alif, what are your thoughts on this? On counsel culture over cancel culture?
Well, no,
Juicy.
I'm glad you asked because I think um,
I'm
I,
glad
I
you
think
understand.
we're very reactionary
Mhm.
as a society, especially in the public. Like the public is very quick to judge. If you
Oh,
really think about it.
100%.
You know,
Yes.
people who have a platform,
Mhm.
whether you're a politician or a celebrity, and you do something like the public, it seems like they're so hyper focused
Mhm.
on the action that you did, and they're so quick to judge.
Yeah.
And and I think that's kind of problematic from the public's perspective. I think what we gotta do better on is the public is just like take all other factors into consideration, like do some research and all that stuff,
Mhm.
and and then like just counsel.
Mhm.
But how? But then my question is like, how would we go about counseling? Yeah, I mean, some of you guys mentioned Twitter and all that stuff and social media, but
Mm.
uh, but it's not all encompassing, you know. Like you're because like yeah, we're sitting here at the table talking, promoting council culture, but then a lot of people just don't see it that way. And like when it does come to some celebrity or politician saying some wild ass shit, uh, you're just gonna have like
Mhm.
a like mixed response.
Well, one thing that I would say to that, Alif, and I think that the best example of that was Deshaun Jackson when he had made those comments, those anti-Semitic comments on his Instagram story and screenshotted that story. Julian Edelman, who is of Jewish descent, came out and made a statement on why he felt those comments were wrong. And on top of that, he was the one who invited him to the Museum of Tolerance. And he's like, "I'll take you to the Museum of Tolerance. You can take me to Chibs. What is that museum in Washington D.C.? It was the Obama
Of that,
administration.
the
Wait,
African American Museum of like Culture and History, I believe.
yeah, yeah. So then Julian Edelman basically said trade off. You come to me you come to me to the Museum of Tolerance. I'll go to you. I'll go with you to that museum. We'll have an open discussion. We'll meet with the Holocaust survivors that are still alive, and that way you can gain a new perspective. And I think that when these things happen, it's important for leaders, whether it be in the Black community, the Jewish community, the Mexican community, people who we deem to be leaders, to step up and to counsel people who want to be counseled. Like
Yeah.
to me, in a case of the woman in Central Park, I don't know, you guys remember
Yeah, the
the
one
white
that would
girl,
have
Amy Cooper,
her dog,
her
and
Oh,
all
the
dog.
that
dog.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
To me, in that situation, like she got pretty much just tore up. Like in terms of like social media, like Twitter was like, "You're canceled, you're done." She got fired from her job. So to me, it's like what she did was wrong, but she also deserves counsel. And if she deserves counsel, who is going to give that counsel to her? It has to be a leader from the Black community
Yeah.
that's going to step up and say, "Hey, let me talk to you about why this is wrong on a systemic level and why this is dangerous for African Americans and why you put this man's life in danger."
Well,
Yeah.
for
So
that,
so what you're saying is that like people with platforms should be able to counsel. Like it's more significant.
I think
It's more powerful when people with platforms step up to counsel
I
other
think
people.
anyone willing and educated and that's willing to volunteer time to counsel should counsel.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I think I like that, and I think one of the issues that we're gonna probably run into that is that you're going to have people that already know. I correct me if I'm wrong, but for Amy, whatever her name is, Cooper, didn't she say like I'm gonna call the police and tell them that a black man?
Yeah, she
So-
did.
So but she told him that.
Of course, but that doesn't mean that she doesn't deserve counsel to understand to
So-
one dissect why she thinks this way.
No.
Number two, to say, hey, well, I'm just saying that, and to me, even the way I look at it with Daryl Davis, I think that it's still important that people who are jaded in that point of view, if she's willing to seek out help, if she's willing to have an open conversation, I think that it's good to still try and attempt to break that chain.
Yes.
I'm not saying that it will happen.
No, I know,
I'm
but I'm
just
saying
saying.
for that specific instance, that's the reason why I think she got killed the way she did, is because when you display a understanding and knowledge of this is what I'm doing, I understand what's going on in the world, and I understand how this dynamic works, and I'm going to use that to exploit that because I don't like what you're telling me.
Exactly.
Now that is something that I don't think that any trip to something can handle because you already have displayed that you know that this is not
But
okay.
everyone calling the cops already knows what it does. She was just bold enough to say it. everybody that calls the cops on a black man or a Mexican man that may be doing something that's not even involved with them. That dude was bird watching. They're calling with the intent of already getting them in trouble. They know what it could lead to.
Exactly.
So she just said it. But all the Beckys and the Karens that we're seeing on Instagram, they're all doing the same thing.
Oh yeah, no.
It's all part of the same big.
That's why I'm saying
fuck
I
up
don't
that
know
they're-
if that's
that they got going
necessarily a point of counsel. Like I don't
I
know
think
that
so.
I don't know if that's a point of counsel.
I think you can counsel KKK
well,
members.
Yeah.
well, yeah, but I'm saying like there's already a knowledge base for that. For like the whole Watson, whatever, what is
Who?
Deshaun?
Deshaun Jackson.
He made those comments with the Hitler thing, and I think when he did that, there's still, I don't know, maybe I'm just alone on this island and it's totally fine. But for that specific act, I feel as though like there's room in there to be like, okay, this is a point of like, hey, this is why this is not wrong, or this is sorry,
Yeah.
this is why this is wrong. It is wrong, not
Yeah,
not wrong.
yeah.
Just for clarification for that before I get slammed.
Well, I kind of operate on the belief that no matter like how problematic or whatever crazy shit that you say comes out of your mouth, like I still think it's important to believe that everyone's like worthy of some sort of redemption, you know?
I think so
T,
too.
yeah, jump in,
but
sorry.
something that I want to say about that is
Within reason. Within reason.
Okay, T.
no,
Continue.
yeah, no, but something I want to say about that is I think it's important for that person to genuinely want to learn and not
Yes.
just so they don't get canceled. You know, like
Exactly.
they have to be
Yeah.
genuine in their intention to learn and genuine in their open-mindedness to like learn about it and to actually understand where the other people are coming from and you know, to see that it was wrong. But if you're going to come at it like, well, I just don't want to get canceled, so I'm going to, you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
But then wouldn't we just find that out if an instance or something like that were to happen
Well,
again?
no,
like
because-
that would to me I
Yeah.
think it would that's something that takes time. Like Daryl Davis when he was talking to KKK members, and I think everyone should go and watch that video. I think it was a great video. It was like a 20-minute video and he was talking about race, the KKK, et cetera, et cetera.
yeah.
He wasn't just sitting down with people for 4 hours and being like, this is why racism bad. Okay, bye. And like that was it. You know, it's on the person to A, want to seek counsel, but B, want to continue education on what's going on in the world and why what she did was wrong and how to continue to inform other people on like how to learn from her mistakes. Like it's a lifelong of learning in
Yeah.
that sense. It's not just a one council meeting and then from there, okay, I'm just going to return to like being racist and like thinking this way.
Yeah.
But Chibs, I want to touch on Chibs. So what's your idea on counseling and who should be doing the counseling? Do you think that it should be respected members of each community? Do you think it should just be like one person, like a United States HR that they go
US
to?
HR.
United States HR for racist complaints. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I guess you have to meet someone where they are, I suppose. You know, like it's I don't know. In my mind, it was like a celebrity, right? It will take another celebrity for them to see. Like, even if I was like, oh, I'm like the head of this tolerance group, you know, just like me, you know, Deshaun Jackson's gonna be like, who the fuck is this guy? You know, like, but I feel like you need to have someone who like kind of like meet at the same level, or even like even if someone is coming from like above, kind of like tower, like if someone can be like it be seen as demeaning, you know, there's like also some authority figure just telling me what to do, you know. So I mean, like, yeah, like T said, people can just go just to say I went,
Yeah.
but to have like an impact,
And there's also
you
people
know,
that do that too.
I feel like I see it kind of like at the same level, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but I do agree with that. Say that again, Speaks.
That there's people that do that just to like, I'm going to seek counsel and like I'm going or not seek counsel, but I'm going to go and try to understand why my comments were wrong. And they say that as a PR stunt, but they don't really actually mean
Yeah,
it.
they just go through the motions. They don't
Yeah,
really mean it. And I think
exactly.
I think like if that's the case, people who do that just to go through the motions, well, I think you could pick that out because you can tell whether a person is being genuine or not about it.
Well, see that was my whole point with like the whole making of the Amy Cooper thing is like, you know, like you can tell, like I feel as though that would have been a issue where that person would just go through the motions just so they don't get canceled.
Well, the reason why I say you're wrong on that one is just because you don't know her and you haven't talked to her.
True,
And I think that
I acknowledge that.
I think that in this climate, and trust me, I am guilty of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
In this climate, it's very easy to look at a video and immediately judge that person based on the actions of that video.
Okay,
And I think that with Amy Cooper, maybe she's just a complete bitch. You know, maybe she is. Maybe she is.
Just calling it for what it is.
I'm just calling
we
it
don't know
for.
her.
You know, I don't know her. I don't
Yeah.
know her. She may
Hang
just
there,
be-
Cannon.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Yeah, yo. But what I'm trying to say is that she could just be misguided in the way that she thinks, or she could just be so far gone. But we won't know until we have the conversation and we try. You could look, like I said, you can look at a KKK member and he may be so far gone that you're like, you know what, there's just no point in talking. But you won't know unless you try.
Okay, all right,
know?
that's fair.
Yeah, That's fair enough.
Giving
that's fair.
everybody in that situation and phrasing it that way, I would agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Attend your nearest Klan meeting, guys. Time to
What?
radicalize.
I'm like, wait, what? You lost me there.
Yeah. So, any final statements on Nick Cannon's comments?
I think that they were deserving. There was hate speech put in. He did definitely deserve it. I think it's also important for people to also not just hear and kind of like touching on our whole counsel versus cancel, but understand why they were not, like, it's easy just to say, oh, well, he said it about white people and it's okay. But like, understand what he was saying and why that's not okay. Understand what he was saying about the whole the Jewish people and saying why that's not okay.
Yeah.
Seeking that. And I think it's easier for all of us to kind of take this approach because we're all kind of like somewhat educated, you know, for the most part. We're not like complete, like we don't have doctorates in like, you know, this specific field, but we're all able to assess a situation openly with an open mind and critically think and assess that. And I think that also is something that's needed in our society. You know, maybe that comes with higher education being more accessible to everybody, not just, you know, white people or black people or everybody. Like, you know, everybody. So yeah, maybe that's something.
There you go.
Yeah.
Free college, erase
Big
student
facts.
debt. Yeah, I'm all for it.
Yeah, take out those loans. This is what you're gonna get, guys. Take out those school loans.
Make it accessible, not...
Sorry, say it again?
No, I was just going to say make it accessible, as in making it not so that you go completely broke.
Oh, take it easy, Bernie.
Hey, I'm just saying.
Take it easy, Bernie Sanders. T, final comments?
No, I agree, and I'm just interested to see if he's gonna like take the time to be a little bit more open-minded next time and careful about what he's saying. Because I mean, obviously, I feel like he's definitely learned a lesson to be a little bit more careful.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Alif, final thoughts?
I think before I definitely think like his comments came from a place of ignorance. I think hopefully he does receive some type of counsel and he's like willing to open his mind, you know, because at the end of the day, like we're kind of all in this together.
Yeah, true that. Only one race. Chibs?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of the comments or debate was kind of just like, are you like for the people or not? And on some part, the way I saw it, it's kind of just like either you agree with Nick Cannon and, you know, we're for the fight or for the black people, or like disagree with him and like you're not, I guess.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's a little more like nuanced in what we discussed.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, everything has to be like taken in like by itself. You know, you can't just like take any comment you want or just like accept anything that everyone says. You have to always have a little discretion, and I feel like this is one of those situations where like, we gotta walk a little discretion here.
Yeah, true. Facts, Alif. Chibs.
Whoa.
My bad. It's because I read Alif and I was talking to Chibs. My bad. It's been a long day. But yeah, I do agree with all of you guys. I think that more discretion was needed as Speaks Easy just coughed.
My name again?
Spread germs all over the studio.
First off, I didn't cough and I stopped myself. And then,
I know, and I sneezed in your direction
Well,
earlier.
Speaks, one more cough, quarantine.
Yeah, one more cough and you're out of here. So thank you guys again for listening to another episode of the Millennial Minute podcast. It will be greatly appreciated if you can give us a 5-star rating and also donate all of your money to the Patreon. Hit us up on Cash App, everywhere. So we appreciate you guys. Go to.
Remember, you gotta give a large monetary apology.
Yes, large
Is that how it goes?
monetary apology.
There you go. Now's your
Yes,
chance,
large.
everyone.
Cash App us and then just put it under reparations, and we will thank
Yes.
you. So thank
Us,
you guys.
the melanated people.
Yes, the melanated people. The melanated minute. Let's change the podcast. The melanated minute.
The millennial.
So thank you guys.
The melanated minute.
The melanated minute. So don't forget, keep signing up podcasts. Keep fighting for social justice. Keep fighting for Elijah McClain, Breonna Taylor, and just keep on, man. Keep on keeping on. Stay safe. Stay COVID free. We love you guys. We love our listeners.
Wear your mask.
Wear your mask, please.
Wash your hands.
This isn't
Wear
a
your
political
mask.
issue. Wear your mask, people. Please. We want Halloween at least. We want a
Come
whole Halloween.
on.
Please.
We not getting Halloween.
Stop.
Come on, guys. Stop it. Okay.
Okay, bye.
Yes. Thank you, guys.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
Goose.
Deuces.